I made a regretful mistake while hiking one of Colorado's more than 50 mountain peaks exceeding 14,000 feet. They're known as 14ers. And once you get higher than the tree line, altitude sickness, dehydration, fast building storms, and tripping can become a serious danger. At that altitude, there is no level path or convenient trail to the summit, just piles and piles of sharp-edged boulders all the way to the top. I was looking down, trying to avoid tripping, and sure enough, I slipped on an icy rock and ended up breaking my ankle and two of my fingers. Had I been looking up occasionally, I may not have stumbled. I think that is a common mistake that pastors make in contemporary ministry. Let's face it, the terrain of pastoral ministry is constantly changing. It is full of tripping hazards and difficult to navigate. We become so focused on the rocks that we're forgetting to orientate ourselves with the summit. I think the most profound victory the devil gains in our ministries is that of lowering our line of sight from eternity to this world. I'm certain that is why Peter made 3 references to the end times while addressing pastors leading in a difficult time. He spoke of a shared glory that would be revealed in the future. He spoke of the second coming of Christ, referring to the chief shepherd that will appear. And then he concluded, reminding pastors that faithfulness is rewarded with the crown of glory that will never fade. If you're called to ministry, there is nothing in this world that can truly satisfy, motivate, or give you resilience like eternal glory. And just what kind of glory can you and I expect as ministers of God? We can expect a glorious future. Peter said he would receive a glory to be revealed. He was speaking in the future tense and in a definite tone, despite the news that tells us to be skeptical and pessimistic about the future. We have a bright future. Regardless of adversity that is constantly peddling fear and despair and anxiety, we can be optimistic today. No matter what color you are, no matter what language you speak or size of ministry you lead, shepherd of God, you have a glorious future. But we also can look forward to a glorious return. Peter called shepherds to lift up their heads from the rocky path and look at the sky. We're not alone. We're not independent contractors in this thing called ministry. We serve a chief shepherd, and he is personally returning, and he will appear. Do you know what fueled the fire of the early apostles? Do you know what inspired missionaries to go to unknown lands and preach in unknown languages to unknown people groups? Do you know what the early church had that we have lost? A burning fire, a driving conviction and swelling anticipation that Christ could return at any moment. Look up, shepherd of God. It's not about the here and the now. This world is nothing but a cheap hotel. Christ, your chief shepherd, is coming. And lastly, Peter tells them they have a glorious reward. He tells these weary shepherds, and he promises them that the chief shepherd will appear, and they will receive a crown of glory that will never fade away. Peter reminded pastors that the greatest reward is not skyrocketing attendance, big buildings, or fame gone wild. It's not the applause of man, the affirmation of boards, or even viral posts. It's not likes or views or shares. It's not a book deal. It's not a large salary. It is the crown of glory. It is heaven. It is eternity with Jesus. It is hearing the Master say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." It is the greatest victory celebration in all of human history. It is the reward that never pauses, it never stops, and it never ends. As a matter of fact, Peter speaks more of glory than he does of their persecution and their obstacles. Let me read that again in this new light. To the elders among you, I appeal as a fellow elder and a witness of Christ's sufferings, who will also share in the glory to be revealed. Be shepherds of God's flock that is under your care. Watch over them, not because you must, but because you are willing, as God wants you to be. Not pursuing dishonest gain, but eager to serve. Not lording over those entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away. That kind of glory makes any price worth it, any suffering sufferable, and any adversity temporal. That is why we must be faithful to lead against the wind. I would encourage you to conclude this devotional journey on your own time by meditating upon chapter 6 in the devotional entitled Shepherds of God, probing questions about leadership and adversity. I would also encourage you to make a prayer journal and prayer lists that will help you process the truths of this passage and become empowered to lead in these times where we must lead against the wind.